son Peter is in 6th grade here still. So we've been part of this community for a really long time, and I can remember being in your position, having little kids when Arthur was small. The middle school teacher would have these alumni panel discussion nights, and we would come, and I would bring my parents, and we would listen to what it was like. I didn't really know much about Montessori when we started, but I knew that we loved it once we did, and we decided to keep the boys here because they were thriving. And when I would come and listen to the middle school students talk, I knew I wanted my kids to grow up to be like that. So it's hard to believe, and I know it's surreal for these kiddos here to actually be on the panel because they've all attended as well and seen what it's like to see the older kids talk about their experience here. So I met Cindy, who's recording, who's a mom here. We met, I don't know how many years ago was that, 15 probably?
Yeah, long time.
Yeah. We started volunteering as parents for the gala. And now I work here, as you guys know. I teach design thinking, and I teach a digital literacy class, and I do marketing for the school. So Cindy, you want to talk about your kiddos?
Oh yeah, so my son Trevor's in 7th grade here, and my daughter Olivia is at Dreyfus now. She's actually on her way here from work, so she'll be here to join the panel as well.
Yes, so I guess what we can do is we can just start by having all the alumni introduce themselves. Samia, there's someone else waiting in the, our beautiful Samia up there.
Oh, can we record on the Zoom? Hit record.
Thank you, McKenna. Thanks.
Recording in progress.
Perfect. Okay, so Samia is our oldest alumni, and I'm so happy to see her. She and Arthur were in class together years ago. So proud of her. Samia, can you introduce yourself and tell everybody, you know, where you are in life and where you've come, and then Arthur can go next.
Yeah, for sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, my name is Samia. I am now just graduated from college actually, so it's been a while. But I have been Montessori my whole life from preschool all the way through 8th grade. I came to Turtle River in grade, so spent 5 years at Turtle River. And after Turtle River, I went to Suncoast High School where I did a dual program in computer science and IB. And then for college, I attended the University of Florida. And I just got my degree in computer science from the College of Engineering, graduated summa cum laude. And yeah, now I'm in Dallas, Texas, working at a commercial real estate and investment management firm. I work as a UX UI designer.
Thank you, Samia. Arthur, you're up.
Hi, I'm Arthur Rio. In addition to being my mom's oldest son, I went to Turtle River essentially all, elementary school and then through middle school, and then afterwards I went to Oxbridge Academy, and then I went to North Broward Preparatory School, and I'm currently a first year at the University of Chicago, planning on studying business economics. I also row crew, and I do some other projects outside of school too, but there are other things. It's mainly just my schooling right now.
Thank you. How about Kai? I think you're next oldest.
Awesome. I'm Kai. I'm a senior at William T. Dwyer High School, and I'm in the International Baccalaureate program. And I joined Montessori in 7th grade and 8th grade.
I'm Anthony Frigo. I'm my mom's second oldest son. I go to Jupiter Christian. I'm a junior there, and I play football.
My name is Mateo. I went to Turtle River for 8 years. I started in 1st grade in 2011, and I'm with Anthony at Jupiter Christian as a junior. I've been working a lot harder this year in junior year, and I've been able to get in all D classes and working hard for that.
Why don't you talk about your business that you guys are starting?
Anthony and I are working on a few projects together, applying several things that we learned here from entrepreneurship, and working to solve one of the biggest problems which we believe right now is to be able to find a gift for someone, and we're trying to find an algorithm and use artificial intelligence to do that.
Who's next? Patrick?
So I'm Patrick Frigo. I'm Trisha's third and youngest son. I currently attend Jupiter Christian as a freshman, and I also row crew with my brother.
I'm Christian Badalmenti. I've been going to Turtle River since I was in kindergarten, and my mom is a teacher here in the pre-K through kindergarten program at the other campus, Miss Alex, and currently a freshman at Jupiter High School.
And you debate, what do you do in school? What are your favorite things, what curriculars, extracurriculars? You're a debater, right?
Yeah, my electives at the moment are debate and digital design.
Daniel?
Hi, I'm Daniel Lagon. I went to Turtle River for 12 years. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I basically made a family here. Everyone knows each other, and we even hung out after school. So basically a second family. I'm currently a freshman in Florida Virtual. I am in all honors, and I am basically in 10th. So I'm kind of going in between two grades. And I have recently joined Boy Scouts and Police Academy to help reach my future potential.
Excellent. Gigi?
I'm Gianna Cuomo. I'm Miss Lisa's daughter. I went to Turtle River for 11 years, and it was a great experience. I'm a freshman at a homeschool called Penn Foster, and I'm planning to finish 1 year early. Whoop whoop!
What are you studying?
Right now, it's civics, which is it's good.
And then what's your plans for the future?
I want to become a therapist because when I went to therapy, it really helped me, and I like to help people.
Excellent, sweetheart. And Mr. Taj?
I'm Taj Madohik. I went to Turtle River for 12 years. I am currently a freshman at Oxbridge Academy. I am a cellist. I'm in the aviation program, and yeah, that's me.
That's excellent. Well, thanks, guys. Well, the reason we're really here tonight is to talk about your experiences here at Turtle River, what it was like when you transitioned out of Turtle River and into your high schools, because that's always a big question for parents. They want to know, this is a nice little community, you learn your Montessori lessons here, but what's it like when you enter the real world? So does anybody want to answer that question? Taj, what was it like leaving? I mean, I know, this was, you can talk about what it was like, how it was difficult or easy leaving. And
For me, it was really hard to leave, because I'd been here for so long, and it was kind of like the only thing I knew. I mean, I started when I was 2. Like, I've been pretty much in every room. I've been everywhere. So it was really hard to leave, but the transition was really good. I had no problems whatsoever. It was like really easy to just kind of jump right into it. And like here we had a really strong bond and community, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to like bring that like the same way, because like last year there was a class, our class was like 11, so like we were all really close, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to like have that same kind of bond with people, but I was quickly able to make friends, and we all bonded really well, and I think that Turtle River helped me do that, because we really focused on like kind of bonding with people and like just interacting, and yeah.
I agree with Taj. This is a very close-knit community, and since I've been here so long, I didn't really know what high school was going to be like, but luckily I'm homeschooling, so I can't really say my experience has been the same as everybody else, but what I did like is Turtle River really taught me how to make friends, and so even though I'm not in school, I can still make friends pretty easily because they had it to be such a close-knit community.
what would you say, like, Taj, for you for classes? What was it like homework, because characteristically, Montessori doesn't assign a lot of homework. So what would you say about the transition to homework?
I was actually kind of worried for that, for homework, and it surprisingly was nowhere near what I thought it was going to be. It was actually pretty similar, and it's pretty easy for workload, and I think that Turtle River actually, like, the last few years really prepared me for that, because, like, when you're younger, obviously, we don't really have as much homework, but the last few years, it did really prepare me for high school.
Okay. Kai, do you have anything to add about, you're an IB?
Yeah,
That's
so
a lot
I
of
think
work.
one of the most important things I've learned at Montessori and what I was taught is independent research, which is very important in IB because last year and this year I've been taking college courses practically. So as long as I do well on my exams at the end of this year, I'll be going into college with college credits already. And one of the most important things that I learned was independent research. Because the transition from middle school to high school.
Skill set. And they wanted to understand yours and you wanted to understand theirs. So like, my brother Anthony is getting recruited, by Harvard and the rest of the Ivy League to go play football. Okay? He is doing like incredible things on the football field. His work ethic is unmatched. Yes, I'm gonna shamelessly plug my brother. He can teach me things that I ordinarily would not have aside from my mother, who again was a phenomenal student athlete, again, shamelessly plugging my mom. He can teach me things that I really, if I was struggling to understand something, whether that's, athletically or even academically, he does things that are incredible. And same thing with Patrick, and same thing with Peter. And our relationships have really taken that integrated learning approach. He's not just a football player. He's also somebody that's, passionate about graphic design, and passionate about learning and also having startups. And same thing with Mateo, who's like another one of my brothers. It's that integrated approach to learning. I'm sorry, I'm really over time here. I have to go. I'm sorry, Mom.
Okay.
But great talking with you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. Daniel, were you gonna say something?
I was actually gonna talk about how it's helped me at home.
Yeah, great.
At Turtle River, it's helped me build a second family, and through building this family, it helped me personally bring up my own family, because my mom was going through a divorce. It was really hard for her, and knowing how to have empathy and care for others has really helped build my relationship with my mom and my family, because it has all brought us all together. And now we have family get-togethers every once in a while. Due to COVID, it hasn't been as much, but it helps bring us together. And now I also have a second family that it hasn't been as amazing as it used to be when we were all still at Turtle River, but it's still there.
I'll vouch. I got a voicemail from Daniel a couple of weeks ago. I said, hello. He goes, hey, Miss Lisa, it's Daniel. Just checking on you. Want to say hi. What's up? Miss you. Bye. Like, it was the best message ever.
Gianna, what were you gonna say?
You know, I think Turtle River has also taught me, as a close-knit relationship, like I said before, when we fall down, which is bound to happen in life, we learn to pick each other up, dust each other off, and send them on our way, and we'll always be there to do the same. I have a friend named Megan, and she actually went to Montessori as well, and so she knows the lather, rinse, repeat type technique. And even though she's still schooling and she has a job which is really hard, and so do I, we both are right there to pick each other up and dust each other off. And I think that I have a lot of friendships, but they've never been the same because Turtle River taught us to just keep each other, up and helping each other. And so I don't think that I would be the same person that I am if I didn't have that. I wouldn't be able to do that to myself and to help others do that.
I think also with a family, I think there's this aspect in our society, and especially right now, where it's like you go home and you don't talk a lot with your parents about each other's lives, and they ask you how your school went, you say it was good, then you say, what do you want to do this weekend, you talk about it like that. But then I feel like with Montessori, you weren't afraid to ask, and you weren't afraid to learn from your parents, because they're the best role models, because they know you the best and they know what you need. And I think with that in my life, for example, from a young age, my parents always told me about their work and how it was going. And since I was 11 years old, my dad's got me into investing, and I've been able to grow a portfolio because of that. And now I'm using that to have several people that I'm consulting for, and I'm taking commissions, and I'm making a lot of money just by investing for people due to the knowledge which I was able to gain from my parents just because of not being afraid to ask. And just being able to break that bond of, it's not just you're my father or I'm your son and we just live our lives like that. It's more of a, you're my father, I'm your son, I'm learning from you, we're learning from each other, and I want you to succeed, but you also have to make your own choices and learn from your mistakes.
I will say, as the mother of these boys and the whole crew on the end there, from Anthony down, as part of my team, even surrogate sons. But these kids, I can't tell you, when they're all at my house, sitting around the table, it's not like Instagram, Snapchat, I mean, there's a little of that, but they're so interesting, and it's because of their curiosity that really, as a mom I'm speaking, not as an employee here, that their curiosity that is always stoked here, the conversations they have, I mean, they're investing in cryptocurrency, it's always politics. I mean, I'm always so touched and appreciative when I see them, they're all together in the stuff that they do. I mean, there's a lot of crazy, curious things, you know, bribing Arthur to buy fireworks when he turned 18 so they could, boys could get together and shoot fireworks off, but they're curious, really interesting kids who have interesting passions and interesting things that they do, and that runs the gamut through all of you guys. I mean, I'm just talking about the kids who are at my house all the time sitting around the table, on weekends having fun, but the truth of the matter is you guys are all interesting and pursue lots of different things. One of the questions that I would ask Kai and Anthony and Todd, I don't know if you're playing sports at Oxford, but like people always want to know, like there's no sports program here. So what does that mean for sports? If kids are athletic or they want to pursue sports. So, can anybody talk about what it was like to go to high school and play sports, not having played on a middle school or elementary school team?
So I am a student at Dwyer. I'm in an IB program, and that is a lot of coursework. And one of the things that Montessori's taught me is managing my time. And I mean, I think IB started with around 120 kids, and now in my senior year, I think there's 50-ish kids. So they more than halved the amount of kids dropping out. And I think time management was super important here at Montessori. Out of school, I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu along with my coursework, and I actually have a tournament this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going down to Miami. I'm competing in a Jiu-Jitsu tournament, and I think there's so many things out of school that you can do athletically that is not really that big.
Anthony and Patrick, what would you say? I mean, you're talking about, somebody asked a question right as I was asking it, but like, do you feel like when you got to high school, you originally played basketball freshman year, then you started football sophomore year, but do you feel like you were at a disadvantage from the kids who played football in elementary school on their school team or basketball on their school team?
No, I didn't really think so. For me, basketball was not my sport, and I realized that pretty early on. I play football now, and it's not more of like a who's more gifted. It's more of like who's willing to try and give that extra, push when nobody else is. Especially being on the O-line, hitting every single play. You have to be able to, if you're not giving it, you're gonna lose the game. It's the ball starts there, and if you mess that up, it's really over. So I think that trying your hardest when it gets tough is something I learned here, especially with academics. Transferred over to my athletic ability.
And we also participated in travel teams. So even though there wasn't I was an athlete too growing up, and so even though there wasn't a team here, they participated in travel. And so, and then Anthony didn't start football till sophomore year in high school. So I don't think my kids at all were at a disadvantage, not having an elementary school sports team at all.
I also think you're also not at a disadvantage because it teaches you the discipline that you need to work hard in sports and also in school at the same time. As many people have said, it teaches you time management, so how to put in enough effort into both things and managing your time one day is also really helpful. So it teaches you. I think the discipline is very important for improving in academics and sports.
I have a question for you. Do you feel when you are in your, the newer environment that's different, do you feel peer pressure, and if you do, how do you deal with it?
I guess I can touch on this one. So, going to Dreyfus now, again, similar to Suncoast, like it's a very, very competitive school. I think probably my grade has about 350 people, and the top 100 people in my grade, probably all have above a 4.6 HPA. So it's like, once you it gets so nitty gritty where the fact that like these kids are taking maybe 11 classes each year, taking so many dual enrollment classes, taking extra classes on Florida Virtual School to compensate in this way. And I think, sorry, I'm just getting so off track. I'm writing a story about this right now for my school's magazine, but I really think for my school, not that it's a negative peer pressure, but there's so much competition And there's definitely peer pressure to take all these classes because you just almost feel a lot more insignificant, because you might not stack up necessarily. And I think being able to realize that like you are, as many people have said, like you are an individual, and you might have your own strengths and you might have your own talents that might not correspond exactly in these ways. And I also wanted to earlier touch on the self-confidence thing. So I feel like, as I touched on, doing a hobby, competing in speech and debate, public speaking is one of the most, like, I guess, it's definitely a fear for a lot of people because of, I guess, the confidence involved. And I personally do congressional debates, so it's almost like a mock Congress. You debate laws and you debate bills, and then these people kind of come and they try to attack your argument. They try to point out your flaws and everything, and you have to really impromptu work on your feet and, I guess, negating what they're saying. And I think that the reason, even though I might feel nervous, that I appear a lot more confident is because at Turtle River, you really didn't have that judgment from other people. Like, it was such a welcoming environment that I never felt judged. And to me, it was really weird hearing all these things about bullying almost, because that was never a reality at Turtle River. I was never bullied, and I always just felt so welcomed that you almost don't really, you learn not really to care what other people think because you have that sort of, you have that self-worth and that self-confidence that's instilled from a really young age.
And I think directly speaking on peer pressure, there are many times when, not more speaking like drugs or alcohol, things like that, but like more on peer pressure to not put in the work. Because you can see like a lot of students around you who seem to be like happier, if you think about it, and they seem to be having more fun and just be enjoying like the high school experience more. And then you talk with them and they're failing their classes, they have like a 2.5 GPA, things like that. And then that's when you have to think that, due to like Montessori, this really taught me that these are like the most guaranteed the most important years of your life. Like there might be more important later on, but right now you know that these are the most important that you have, that are still in your control. So although I might see my friends and sometimes I might lack motivation and might fall into like temptation, or I'll do my homework tomorrow just because I want to go have fun with my friends, I think that it really helped me find a balance between, I know this is very important for my future and I need to consider that, but at the same time I'm able to enjoy my life and not regret later on not having the high school experience.
Did that answer your question, Ms. Bubbly?
Yes.
Yeah.
I could answer my own question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of following up on what you were saying, how do you think Montessori has helped you establish like a love of school and learning? Because I think there are so many kids out there that just don't like school. Like they think it's a chore. And I myself was lucky because I was always like really good at memorizing, so I always had good grades, but I just remember school being so stressful, and to this day I have nightmares about like preparing for tests. And I always had the grades, but I just remember it being such a stress, and I never really had a love for school, and I definitely don't want that for my children. So do you see a difference between Montessori and a traditional school setting, like a high school? And how do you think that, you know, going to Montessori early on helped you prepare for a lot of the stress of high school and college?
I'll just speak to this is actually, I was going to answer about the love of education. On one of the earlier questions, just relating to like what you really learned at Turtle River, and I just remember going to school every day in the morning, really, really wanting to go to school. There was never a day where I just didn't want to show up. That may not be the reality now, but yeah, so it's definitely like a huge change, and I still love school, and I think it goes back into also with the integrated learning and everything, that at Turtle River, you were good at every subject because they tailored it specifically to you, and they basically said, well, again, also kind of going off of Arthur's example, even though he's not here anymore, like if there was a child who loved like space or something, you would tailor math to that, you would tailor reading to that, just to really have that specialized education. And I think that now, that's something that I'm kind of forced to compensate for, because as I was saying, I really do enjoy science, and I almost feel like taking one class isn't doing it enough for me, because it's just not within the rest of my curriculum, so I have to compensate by taking that extra coursework and everything. But yeah, I still do love school, and every, like, even though it is, like, it does put a large burden on me, and I really don't have a lot of free time. My mom can testify that she comes in like Friday nights and I'm working, but I still really enjoy it, and I honestly wouldn't have it any other way, because almost the feeling of accomplishment at the end when you like finish that course or something, you look back and you say like, wow, like I feel so proud of myself. And I think that also instills like almost like a self reward. Like you definitely feel that I don't know, like proud in yourself. You definitely feel that confidence instilled within you, and I think that that's so important because it allows you to keep going.
For me, what made me love learning and going to school so much was because of how unique Turtle River was. For instance, the projects, instead of giving you a test with just a piece of paper and questions about what you learned, they gave you a project. Like, it was a crazy project most of the time. They had you write a book, a little comic about what you learned, and they had you get up and debate, and they even had you dress up as characters from World War II and come and speak about why you're either guilty or not guilty. And it was fun, and you were interested in what you were learning because you could express it in your own way. I think kids really hate school so much because of how horrible the tests are. I mean, it's just a piece of paper with questions about what you learned, and you can't even remember half the facts. And you're up all night studying, but with a project, you have months to learn, you have days. It's not easy, but it's chilled, I would say. It's not rushed, and you can really get into what you're learning.
I think it also helps to find value in what you're doing, and Montessori helped with that because, for example, if I applied what I learned here to now, for example, Anthony and I are in pre-calc, and I find a hard time to, like, I always question on when will I need this, right? It's like, of course I'm going to need it for college and, like, next year if I take AP Calc, but it's like, I don't feel like I need, where I'm like, oh, in 20 years I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I remembered that at pre-calc, but now the teachers is like telling me to just like find it in myself with something that interests me. And for Montessori I was able to, like, for example, in pre-calc now there's like, we're learning different formulas, and it's like a way for me to remember it is for me to know myself that, for example, I can apply that for like a growth and investment, and I can find that what would be the estimated growth, or now we're doing one where you find out if you would have invested X amount in one yielding account and X amount in the other, then how much would you need to invest in order to get an X amount of percentage yield in that year. And just looking at it from that perspective, I was able to like not try to memorize it or force memorize myself, just then forget it a week later, but actually understand it because I want to know what I'm learning, and it like excites me to know that what I'm learning I'll be able to apply in the future. And here in TRM, the classes that we're taking, like entrepreneurship, for example, or if we're learning about history, it's not like a little bubble that we're learning about and just the things that we need to learn in order to pass the test. It's like you're learning in order to better yourself and know knowledge and just be eloquently spoken when you're with other people and be able to speak about things and converse. And I think that's why it's like I find value, and it's like it's not like being forced to learn. I want to learn in order to be able to know things and apply them to the rest of my life to make better decisions.
Sorry, I know I just spoke, but I actually remembered a crazy memory. In 5th grade, Turtle River had a guest speaker coming to speak, and I remember him saying, most kids lose interest in what you're saying within 5 minutes because you're either speaking too long or you're just talking about something that they're not interested in. But what I really liked about Turtle River is if you're not interested in the subject that they're teaching, they'll make it interesting and they'll make it fun. And so maybe even if it's not the greatest thing in the world and you're not totally thrilled about it, at least you'll still learn something and have fun doing it.
Thank you, Gianna. Mr. Luke up there has a question. Can you read that, Mateo? And
Yeah.
maybe you guys can answer that.
How was your experience with the mixed age classes? Were you ever intimidated by the older classmates or annoyed with the younger ones? What do you back possibly give me some positive and negative? Please do not just the good. And did the older kids pick on or bully the younger ones ever? I could just answer it right now a little bit that I think it's very helpful because it's very easy to find a mentor when they're so readily available to you. For example, with Arthur, who was in this call previously, he's 19, I'm 16 now, and that's a very large age gap, which you wouldn't be able to even have the opportunity to talk with them at a larger school. And here, I've been able to take him as a mentor, and a lot of things that I know now, I've been taught by him, and I really look up to him, and that was due to the Montessori aspect where you're all together and you're able to share your knowledge with each other. And I think if there has to be a negative, maybe it can be annoying at times if you're older and there's younger kids who, just because they're younger, less mature, it could be annoying, but I think it's just, once you understand and put yourself in the perspective of that child, you almost feel like proud because like this child is trying to learn from me, and so at that point, that's when you want to put all your resources in order to help that younger person and allow for them to grow and learn from what you've already learned.
Anybody else? Gianna?
You know, I actually work at the East Campus with all the little ones, and they are very cute. But something I learned from them was there are some of them that are like 2 to 3, and there are others that are like 5 to 6. And maybe that's not the biggest age gap, but some of them are interested in all different things. And I love how in a Montessori place, when somebody gets upset or and they need to be picked up and dusted off, no matter if you're older or younger, I see those kids just flocking to the person that needs help and really just trying to nurture them. Like, it's amazing to see how even from a young age, Turtle River teaches people to not really care about how old the person is or what they look like, but really to just try and nurture them and help them.
Understand what they're saying.
Yeah, Christian.
I remember when I was in first grade, I absolutely adored Anthony. I thought he was the greatest person to ever live, and Anthony's a pretty good person. So that's a good person to have as your role model. And I feel like having the third graders that year be in the same class as me, I aspired to be them, and they're very good people, and I still aspire to be them because they're very
Trevor.
people.
Trevor.
Kind of bouncing off of Christian, I remember every part of, or my favorite part of every day in 4th grade was going straight to aftercare, so I could be with like the 5th and 6th graders, kind of like hang out with them, because you learn a lot from them, and you also you learn a lot from them, and it's like they're your mentor, but they're also like teaching you more than like personal skills. They're also teaching you like, or more than like education skills, they're teaching you like how to be a person, and like just like kind of like gives you like a stepping stool to like make these lifelong connections.
And Trevor is in 7th grade.
Yes, he's in the middle school here.
We haven't introduced him.
Yeah, we wanted to just quickly introduce you to our current middle school teacher, Miss Bridget. You want to come up really quick?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I think Taj had one thing you
Oh,
wanted
sorry,
to say.
Taj,
too.
go ahead.
Raj has one thing.
So, and relating like the intimidation factor of it, like when I was younger, especially, I looked up to the older kids in the classroom. I agreed with Christian. When I was in like first grade, I really looked up to Anthony. As we got older, I think we kind of also like, we started to not necessarily see people for like age, but we saw them for who they were themselves, and if we actually wanted to like be around them, and if we wanted to have them in our life. So like taking that into high school, I have a lot of friends who are juniors and seniors, and I don't feel intimidated when I'm like around them, because I just want to be friends with them for who they are, and like because they make me happy. And I think that really came from this and the different age groups that we had in the classrooms.
Did you feel good being a mentor and getting to help the younger ones?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, over the many years that I was here, I think even I 7th or 6th or 7th grade, I would have so many like younger kids come up to me who were like in 1st grade and 2nd grade and just like ask me kind of some random question, and I'd answer them, and I really got like joy out of that, to like teach them and help them.
So you
like,
didn't
learn.
find them annoying?
No. I took it as a compliment.
So Bridget, you want to just say hi? This is Bridget's
Sure.
classroom, and she's
I'll
our
come
middle
on
school
up.
teacher.
This is the classroom that I run upstairs. Thank you guys all for being here. You all are so well spoken and accomplished. Way to go. So this is the Poinciana room upstairs, and I can just speak a little bit to the middle school program because it's probably the closest link from Turtle River to where you guys end up here. So the character building I want to talk about first, which I think is a really amazing part of the middle school program here. So it's one of the most inclusive programs that I've ever been involved with. When I asked my kids, what do you love about being here? The answers that I got were basically, I feel accepted. I feel like I'm not judged. I feel like I can be who I want to be. I feel like I know who I am, which is not a common thing that you hear in a middle school. We really stress the value of everyone's opinion. So not only being comfortable with who you are, but also accepting others, which is definitely it's a two-way street there. We do a lot of outdoor activities too that will promote character building. We just did a big ropes course. We do a lot of wonderful environmental studies and some things that really get them out of the box and just discovering who they are as people, so that when they're ready to go off, into high school, they again know who they are and what they want to do. I can speak to at least just my kids too, how we're new to Turtle River, and I know my oldest came in a little bit shy and nervous, and she's a different child now. So I think the acceptance piece, knowing who you are, building up, being okay with your opinion, being okay with the way you see a situation or you value something, and sharing that, knowing how to share it in a professional way, knowing how to bounce ideas off of other people is a really important part of this curriculum. I think that as far as the integrated piece, I think there's no other way to really learn an academic subject, because when you're involved in, let's say, World War II, and you're reading novels about them, learning about chemistry with World War II, atomic bombs and things like that, when it all comes together, it becomes a topic that comes alive. It's not just individual pieces. It all makes sense as a part of history, or as a part of the way people were living. So for instance, we'll do mixed media collages on heroes of the Holocaust while we're also reading books about the Holocaust, and it's all just coming together in a really beautiful way for the kids to understand. So I think that along with all the things that everyone talked about, where we do a lot of presentations, really be comfortable up in front of people,